Good afternoon, evening, and morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this webinar from wherever you are today. My name is Shenda O'Hare, and I will be presenting this webinar on getting ready for the Camino de Santiago. So far, I've walked over 500 kilometers on the Camino with plans to do more, so I have a little experience, you could say, with getting ready for the Camino. So, the agenda for this presentation. First, I will give you a quick overview on who we are and what we do as a company. Then we will delve right in to how to get ready for your Camino, where we will look in more detail at training for your Camino and packing for your Camino. To finish, we will have a Q&A section where we will use the chat function to answer any and all questions. So let's delve right in. Who we are. Follow the Camino is an Irish company that is part of our sister company, One Foot Abroad, that specialises in walking and cycling holidays throughout Europe. We were established back in 2006, so have been operating now for over 13 years. Based in Dublin, we have a growing multilingual team that enables us to effectively communicate with our service providers in Spain and beyond, and makes a nice mix of cultures working together in the office. Collectively, we have over 10,000 kilometres of walking and cycling experience on the Camino, and we actively all try to get out on the Camino every year, so we are up to date as much as possible with what is happening on the ground. Our clients come from all over the world, with a growing number from outside Ireland and the UK, being from the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. Why not check out our independent rating on TripAdvisor or FIFO to see what our clients have to say about us and our services? Finally, we work with an extensive network of hotels and service providers on the Camino and have long working relationships with them, so we know the service they provide. You will also work with a dedicated Camino planner who will get to know you so we can tailor your Camino to your needs. This experience and expertise aids us in making your Camino experience the perfect one for you. Your Camino, your way. So, how do we use our experience and expertise to make your Camino your way? Route discovery. Your dedicated Camino planner will want to get to know you so that they can match your cultural interests and fitness levels with the best route for you, be this your first Camino or not. Hotel selection. This is an important part of our offering and why people book with us. We choose accommodation based on its comfort, facilities, and character, as well as the services provided by the staff and its location to the Camino, so it is easy for you to find at the end of a long day walking. Luggage transfer. This is a standard part of all our packages, and again, another reason why people book with us. For your comfort, we transfer your luggage whilst you are walking or cycling and ensure it is waiting for you at your next stop. This allows you to travel light with just a small day pack during the day, which makes the overall experience more enjoyable and doable. The holiday pack. This is the tangible part of your package that you will get before you go. Included is your pilgrim passport, which you need to get your pilgrim certificate or Compostela, a scallop shell, which is one of the most famous symbols of the Camino, and your luggage tags. In our client area, which is available online, you will have access to the road book for the section you are doing, as well as other useful general information related to your Camino. Finally, support. This makes up a big part of our service. We support you before, during, and after your trip. Whilst on the Camino, you will have our 24/7 emergency support phone number, which you can use for any issues you have. We would rather hear about them then, no matter how small, than hear about it after the fact, when we potentially can't help. So now, you know how to get your accommodation and luggage transfer with us. If you haven't already, let's get to the exciting part, getting ready. Training and packing are the next two important steps once you have your Camino trip booked. Training considerations for the Camino are long distances, day after day. After all, this is what you will be doing on the Camino, so you'll want to incorporate this when training. The Camino passes through a variety of terrain, so again, when training, you'll want to make sure you get a variance of terrain to train on. Finally, walking gear. You will need to train in the gear you're going to use on the Camino. Once we've gone over these items in more detail, we will then move on to your packing considerations. that is, how to pack light, essentials to bring, and those all more important luxury items. Training. Training is very important. However, the Camino is for all levels of fitness. Some take longer than others, but everyone gets there in their own time. Like any activity, the more training you do before you go, the better. You will appreciate it when you are there, as it will help you to really know your body and when you need to take breaks. When starting to train, you can start with short walks, something that fits well into your lifestyle. This may be a 1 or 2 hour walk every other evening, or instead of getting the bus or driving, now why not walk to and from work if practical? Even just getting out on your lunch hour for a 30-minute walk can help. Take any and every opportunity to get your steps in. Park further away from the shop, take the stairs instead of lift or escalator. Trust me, this will all add up and help. Going fast or slow for these walks won't matter. Do what feels comfortable to start with and build it up from there, such as doing a loop a little faster each time or going a little further. On the Camino, you are not just walking for a couple of hours each day. You will be covering on average 20-25 kilometers per day, so 12-15 miles. So, to be prepared for this, you will need to incorporate some longer walks into your training. The weekends can be a great time to get these longer walks in. Start off with a walk around 4 hours long and gradually build on this to around 6 hours, walking in a day over time. Now you may be thinking, but I will cover less or more than other people in that time. This may be true, so also do keep in mind that you should be walking longer distances. For example, if the average person walks 5 kilometers in 1 hour, then in 4 hours you will have covered 20 kilometers. For those using imperial metrics, this is 3 miles in an hour, would be 12 miles in 4 hours. Once you get comfortable with covering this distance in a day, up your training to include some days back to back walking these distances. After all, this is what you will be doing on the Camino. And remember also that you can take breaks along the way. No need to walk for 4 hours straight. Terrain. When training, it is very important to get in training on a combination of terrain. The Camino will have you walking on roads, dirt tracks, and forest paths, as well as flat and hilly terrain. So get out and train on all types to see how you cope. There are many inclines and declines on the Camino. Most are not too challenging, and some are. But if you are from somewhere that is flat, then you need to find opportunities to train on inclines and declines to strengthen your muscles for this. If it's safe, walk on the inclines and declines in multi-story parking garages, for example. Take the stairs, and if you can use a treadmill to practice longer distances, inclining, and if the treadmill allows declining, also do this, as this is what most people find more difficult. Nothing beats, however, getting out in the great outdoors for training. So take the opportunity at the weekend to get in longer walks in any national parks near where you live, or use it as a good excuse to get a long weekend trip into somewhere you know good for walks that will help with your training. Walking gear. So, when training, it will also help you to break in your hiking shoes or boots, and it is vital that you do this before you go. Trust me, if you don't, your feet will not be happy. When out training, also wear the clothes that you are planning to wear on the Camino, weather permitting, and also carry a small day pack so you can get used to this also. If you are planning to use walking poles, then also train with these to see if they work well for you. They can come in handy for some people on the inclines and declines, but practice, as believe it or not, there is a technique to walking with poles. So, having covered the basics of training, now let's give you some helpful hiking techniques and tips. Pace and rhythm. Speeding up and slowing down uses more energy, so aim for a consistent pace when walking a long distance. Keep a steady rhythm will help, so listen to music with a mid tempo, sing a song, or simply pay attention to your breath, keeping this steady. Walking poles can also be useful to keep a steady rhythm, but they are also useful for steadying yourself on or maintaining uneven surfaces and maintaining your balance. It is important that you set them at the right height for you. They should be long enough that your elbow is at a 90-degree angle on flat ground. Make them slightly shorter for going up steep hills and slightly longer then for going down steep hills. Think of the poles as extensions of your arms, a third and fourth leg, if you will. When you step forward with one foot, the pole in your hand on the opposite side should also go forward, a bit like skiing if you can visualize it. This does take practice to find your natural rhythm. Without poles, you will be going up hills on the Camino. A steady pace is easier on the body than pushing yourself, than then having to stop and start again. Shorten your step to accommodate the increase in gradient, and if using poles, use your arms to pull you up and forward. Zigzagging or walking backwards may look strange, but it really helps if you find hills particularly difficult going up. Another great technique to practice is when stepping forward, lock your back knee so all your weight is on that foot, which engages your skeletal system, therefore giving your muscles a momentary break. Then, as you put your weight onto your front leg again, lock the back knee momentarily before lifting your foot. What goes up must come down. Going downhill can be as hard, if not worse, for some people than going uphill. Keep a watchful eye on the terrain, particularly if the ground is loose, but don't lean forward. Keep your center of gravity over your legs. If using poles, adjust them to be slightly longer and place them ahead of your foot to help maintain balance. For those with knee problems, poles will be a big help. It may sound strange, but tighten your laces before a steep or long downhill section. This will help to keep your feet from sliding forward in your shoes or boots and jamming your toes. Don't forget, you can also zigzag down as you did going up. Now that you are prepared physically, let's talk about the mental challenge. The Camino is a mental challenge. There will be a point when you will ask yourself, why are you doing this? You will be tired, sore, hungry, too hot or cold, or possibly even wet. Staying positive is crucial. But how? At times like this, it is time to put on your favorite song or sing. If you're like me, however, and singing may not be your thing, simply breathing in for the count of 4 steps and then out for the count of 4 steps can really help. If walking with others, try and distract yourself with conversation. Before you know it, you will be where you need to be, well, mentally, if not physically. Finally, to aid you with your training on our website, under our blog, you can find our handy Camino training plan, but we will also send you a copy of this after the presentation. So, you have got your training started, and now it's time to think what to pack for your trip. Don't worry, we are here to help. For the Camino, we always recommend packing light. The dress code, if you could call it that, is very casual. Comfort is the most important factor, both when walking or cycling, but also for relaxing in the evenings. Light layers will allow you to deal with any temperature changes from first thing in the morning to during the day and again in the evenings. Also, some rain gear will be advisable. After all, this is the north of Spain that you will be in, and it can rain at any time of the year. From my experience of packing light, I try to apply a rule of three: an item a wear, a clean, and a spare. There is facilities along the Camino to wash your clothes if needed, or you can rinse items in the sink in your bathroom, so bear this in mind when packing. Remember, on the Camino, it will be about comfort each day. It is not a fashion show, and people won't notice if you are wearing the same thing over and over again, as long as it doesn't smell bad. Finally, if possible, opt for quick dry items for tops and trousers, as these will help to keep you cool, comfortable, and dry while wearing, and dry quick when washed, so will be ready to wear the next day. Also, many now are odor resistant. When you book with us, a standard part of your package is our luggage transfer. What we include is one bag per person with a max weight of 20 kg, so more than enough for what you will need. This also allows you to not be as strict with your packing, as you won't be carrying your own luggage every day. For both walkers and cyclists, having your luggage transferred makes the day easier and more enjoyable, as you will not be literally weighed down, nor have to worry about all your possessions should you need to pop into a small shop to get a snack and have to leave your large backpack outside. The packing list you see here is also available on our website under our blog, but we will also send you a copy of this after the presentation. Essential items. Essential items will differ from one person to the next, and without taking into consideration any medicine you might need and a first aid kit, these are some of my essential items from my experiences on the Camino. It goes without saying you need your walking shoes or boots with you, but I always bring a spare pair so I can give my feet a rest from the same pair every day, or in case they get wet and don't dry out in time. Flip flops or sandals are a must have for the evenings to allow your feet to breathe after being stuck in a shoe or boot all day. Lip balm, quick dry hand towel, sorry. The quick dry hand towel is great to have with you because when you stop along the way, you may find that you stop in a little bathroom and there's no hand towels left. If you've got your own little quick dry towel, this is very handy to use. Also, should you decide to rinse your feet anywhere, again, you've a little towel to dry them off. Lip balm. Lip balm, preferably in a small holder you can attach to your backpack for easy access. There is nothing worse than chapped lips, which can occur from heat, the sun, the wind, or even dehydration. So keep your lips protected with an easy to reach lip balm holder on your backpack shoulder strap for when you need it. If you can get one with SPF, even better. Reusable water bottles. There is no need to buy bottled water when on the Camino. Do your bit for the environment and use a reusable water bottle. Tap water is perfectly safe to drink along the Camino, as is the many water fountains that are maintained for pilgrims. You can use a hard-style water bottle, foldable one, or even a water bladder, whatever suits you. Travel detergent. This stuff is great and so handy to rinse out a top or socks in your room. Most work in cold or hot water, and if you wash any items as soon as you finish walking and then hang them up to dry, they should be dry by the following day, especially if they are made of quick dry material. If not, don't worry, you have a spare item with you to wear anyway. Snacks. So, as a somewhat fussy eater, I always take a few of my favourite snacks with me, such as Nairn's gluten-free biscuits. Breakfast biscuits are great as they slowly release energy and are tasty. And it's the added benefit that you know it's something you like. Luxury items. Ah, but you may say we are doing a pilgrimage. We don't need or want luxury items. Well, luxury items can mean different things to different people. And here I have listed items that, yes, I can do without when walking, but if I have them, they just make my day a little bit better. First up, peppermint foot cream. Your feet are the most important thing on your Camino. After all, they are what is carrying you on your way. So I think they deserve a little pampering. I find my feet get best looked after when on the Camino, as I know how important it is to keep them good. When I finish walking for the day and get washed, I always put peppermint foot cream on my feet, as it not only moisturizes them, but leaves them feeling refreshed. Hand moisturizer with built-in antibacterial. This will not only keep your hands moisturized, but is very handy during the day to sanitize your hands after using the bathroom or before you eat. Tennis ball. Now you may be thinking, what are you going to play tennis after a day of walking? No. The tennis ball is for stretching out sore and tired muscles, like a foam roller, but much easier to travel with. A simple exercise I do when I take off my shoes from walking is simply roll my foot back and forth over the tennis ball, applying pressure as I feel necessary. You can also roll the tennis ball up and down your legs or back and shoulders to relieve any aches and pains. Simple yet effective. Power bank. This is especially handy for longer days on the Camino, when you might be using your phone more, listening to music, checking apps or social media, or even taking photos. Having a power bank with you means you don't get caught out with a flat battery on your phone before you finish your day walking. Investing in a solar powered power bank can be worthwhile, as you can attach it to your hip or backpack as you walk, so it will charge and be ready for use when you need it. Travel organizer. This is a really practical way to organize your suitcase, keep your walking items in one and casual evening outfits in another, for example, as well as the handy bag for dirty clothes to keep them separate from your clean clothes. An added bonus is that it can also help to reduce the overall amount of items you will bring with you. After all, you can only fit so much into one of these organizers. Finally, then, we have a fan. My preference is the good old fashioned handheld fans that can create a gentle breeze anywhere to help you cool down. Handheld battery operated ones are also good, but then you need to remember to bring the batteries for them. Thank you. And so that's us kind of covered everything. You can use the booking code Camino webinar to get a surprise in your Camino. It's only valid for the next 24 hours, so Hurry up. You can also contact us today to receive a 10% off your 2020 booking and your surprise. Email us at info@followthecamino.com or call us on one of the numbers depending on the country of your origin. Now we will open up the chat to any questions. Please use the chat function for the webinar to ask any questions. If you are watching this webinar at another time, then please send any questions you have to your Camino planner, should you have one, or simply email info@followthecamino.com. Again, thank you for your time today, and we look forward to assisting you with your Camino journey your way. Now, we will open up the chat to any questions. So yeah, any questions? As I just said, please do use the chat function. I hope everybody was able to hear me okay during that and that nobody was hearing me twice. So yep, let's delve right in. If anybody has any questions there, perhaps on training or on the packing as well. Maybe people can mention if they have already. Please share again how to prevent the jamming. Yep, so what I was talking about there is when you're naturally walking during the day, your boots or shoes, the laces on them will naturally loosen. So when you come to a steep decline, what I would advise is just retightening those laces to help prevent your foot sliding forward and jamming your toes. So that's what that is there. Again, very simple, easy thing to do. It can be hard to remember, but again, if you're out practice walking, this can be something you can try and physically think about so that when you're on the Camino, hopefully by that stage, it has become a natural thing for you to stop and do if you're about to do a steep decline. And first aid kit necessary. It's always necessary to take a first aid kit. Obviously, plasters will be very useful. Everyone will have their own personal first aid kit that they might need. So that would be essential to yourselves. I would recommend obviously Compeed blister plasters, either as a preventative measure or should you unfortunately need them when you're there. So I hope that answers that question. The next question, how far in advance should training start? If I'm already fairly active, can easily walk for a few hours, what additional training should I do? So if you're already fairly active, any and all training will certainly help to make it easier. So if you're already easily walking for a few hours, maybe have a look at the types of terrain that you're walking on. Make sure that you're getting that variance in there with hills, both going up and down, steep, for short periods or slightly longer periods, just to really help push yourself so that you get that benefit from stretching those muscles and working them out there when doing hills. What I would say, if you can easily also walk for a few hours already, this would be great to maybe start off initially getting some training done back to back. So depending on how far in advance if you're going, if you're already relatively fit, I would say about maybe 8 to 6 months before you go, maybe try and get a weekend away somewhere to practice doing back-to-back walking, doing a good maybe 5-6 hours one day and repeating that the following day. So we have here feet and toe care is very important. I had a lot of blisters when I did the Camino. I'm sorry to hear that, Patrick, last year, and needed plasters and washed in tea tree oil. Yes, another wonderful use to take. Good to use old trainers rather than buy new ones. Definitely, you 100% want to have whatever trainers, walking shoes, boots broken in. Do not use new ones because your feet will not be happy. Then we have another question here from Ronit. What do you suggest people carry in their day packs? So in their day packs, it will be down to the individual, but essentially you will need to have your water, some snacks, a small first aid kit, for example, with plasters or the Compeed blister plasters, if needed, sunscreen or an umbrella, depending on the time of year that you're walking, and then whatever else you might want to take with you, such as your money, your phone, your passport. Beyond that, it's really just going to be extra weight. So you do and can, you'll find after a day or two, keep that bag as light as possible. How heavy should your day pack be, approximately? Well, again, it doesn't need to be very heavy. You'll see some people have very little small ones, but you do want to try and keep it as light as possible. A little 10-litre bag can be perfect. The smaller the bag, the less likely you are to kind of shove unnecessary stuff into it. If something a little bit bigger can be useful, particularly if you're wearing layers or want to bring a rain gear or ponchos or jackets, which someone's just asking about. So they can be useful if you want to keep them in your bag rather than wearing them. So something a little bit bigger can be useful. In regards to rain gear, poncho or jacket, it really is down to a personal preference. And again, it can depend. If it's very heavy rain, you will want a proper jacket. If it's just a light shower, a poncho may suffice. Are there any special concerns for solo women travelers? Not at all. On the Camino, it's literally 50-50 between men and women that actually walk. And we would find many of our clients are actually female walkers walking solo because they can't get someone else to go with them, or it's something that they've personally always wanted to do. I've walked a number of times with myself, and I've always found it a very safe environment to do so. On the Camino, people do look out for each other, so that's fantastic. But like anywhere, when traveling on your own, you still do need to keep your wits about you. We do have a 24/7 support number. So if you were traveling on your own and you had any problems or issues, again, you can call us at any time of the day. So we have another question here. When on the Camino, if myself or my party have a really tough day, is it possible to mix the next day, have a day off, and get transport to the next accommodation? Yes, it is. It's as easy as simply getting a taxi. And along the route, depending on what you're doing, this can generally be quite easy. Or again, you have our support number if you do need assistance for this. Will this webinar be available on the website? It won't be on the website, but we will send you a link to it afterwards so that you can hear it, hopefully nice and clearly. And then it'll also have our contact information. So if you've got any particular questions, Marguerite, after listening to it again or sharing it with a friend, you can definitely come back to us. Plantar fasciitis care, again, you'll know best for the pain care that you have there for yourself, what's going to work. Again, I always find for any sort of pains in my foot or leg, the tennis ball is fantastic for really helping to stretch that out. Even if you don't feel like it's maybe too tight when you stop walking, to really use that is fantastic. You might know yourself or maybe ask your podiatrist if they can show you some ways to gently massage your foot if you do have any particular foot pains. And that there. So yeah, these are great, lots of questions. Does anybody else have any others? Or I know we've covered quite a bit there. And that, so we have another one. When booking through you, is it possible to remain in one location for more than one day to rest, to sightsee, etc.? For example, if a Camino route is 25 days, can we choose to do it in 30 or more? Yes, indeed you can. All of our trips are fully customizable to your personal requests. So, and we do have many people, particularly when they're doing longer trips, build in rest days so they can do sightseeing, and sometimes not even for the physical rest, more for the mental rest of not going every single day. And you will find that we always recommend that. We have Patrick then asking that he did the Sarria de Santiago section. Which other route would you recommend? So, if you would like to go back to Santiago and do something similar, then I would recommend perhaps one of the options on the Camino Portuguese. They won't be as busy as the French route, but you'll still meet people. There's a slight difference in terrain. It wouldn't be just as hilly, and you pass through some lovely vineyards. Or another option, again, if you want to reach Santiago, would be the likes of the Camino Inglés. Again, another relatively quiet route, but the scenery is absolutely beautiful and some really nice days walking on that. And again, can easily be covered within a week. If you're looking something a little bit more adventurous, why not one of the sections then further back on the Camino? Maybe go back and start at the beginning after having done the last section. Many people do that because they realize it's something that they really like, and then it can become a sort of annual or even biannual holiday that you go and walk for a week on the Camino. Margarita's asking a great question. Is it too early to plan for a 2021 Camino? No, it is not. Now is the perfect time to start planning if you are thinking of going in 2021. 2021, for those who don't know, will be a holy year on the Camino, and it is also hoped that by then they will have all the restoration work finished on the inside of the cathedral in Santiago. So it will be an exceptionally busy year, particularly around important dates such as Easter, St. James's Day, and again, the really popular months of August into September. So if you're looking to go around then, the sooner the better so that we can start helping you get that itinerary locked down as to what it is you want to do, and again start requesting the best accommodation available for you. We then have Alan asking here about any special considerations for the Del Norte. The Camino del Norte is spectacular scenery wise. It is very quiet, however, in regards to the number of pilgrims. So, with that comes the fact that there's not many services along the way. Each day, I would recommend making sure you've got plenty of water, plenty of snacks, enough snacks even maybe for a light lunch. Depending on when you're walking, the season is much shorter on the Camino del Norte. Generally, it's just over the summer months. Even coming into September, you'll find some places have already closed up for the winter. So you do need to be prepared. There's also some longer days there, some which we can split, others not so easily. And again, just taking into consideration the terrain, it is rather hilly along the coast because you will spend days on the coast, coming back up and going back down again. What are the best months to walk? The Camino, the best month really is up to personal preference, but what we would sort of say the season for the Camino is from around about Easter, so Easter moves, so April each year, until the end of October. April, May can be nice because the weather's that bit cooler, although there can be a little bit more rain. Coming into June, the weather's starting to warm up and it's starting to get a bit drier. July and August, depending on where you're from, you might find too warm. Other people who love the sunshine really enjoy walking then. And again, coming into September, it's really busy, but it really isn't until towards the end of September that the weather will be starting to cool down. So if you're looking at cooler time to go, the end of September into October is really what to go. Outside of these months, so November, December, January, February, March, is what we would classify as off season. So it's not that it's not possible to walk then, but you will need to consider the weather for the section that you're looking to walk. Some sections can get snowed out, so it's not possible to walk them. Again, lots of accommodations and services can be closed, so it makes it a much more difficult and demanding walk than what it would be during the main season. Walking the Camino in May, is it a good time? Well, as I just mentioned, it is. It's one of my favorite times to go. As you've probably seen from my picture, I have very pale skin and red hair, so the sunshine does not like me as much as I love the heat. So I tend to go in May because temperature wise, it's nice. There's still a chance of rain, but it is the north of Spain, as I mentioned earlier, so it can literally rain at any time during the year. For example, during August, just this year, we had clients out there. It was 30 degrees, very warm, but one of the days it rained for a good couple of hours. They actually enjoyed the break in the heat, so they did. But again, it just shows even in August when it typically doesn't rain, it can rain on the Camino. So in May, it's a lovely time to go. It's the start of the season. It's nice and fresh, but you will need to have some rain gear, and obviously just keep your fingers crossed that you don't need it as much as you might think. So again, that's quite a bit we've covered there. We will be providing a copy of this afterwards, and we will also be sending you an email with the training plan and the packing list, so you can have a little bit look at that in more details. Obviously, if any questions do come up, you can also email us at info@followthecamino.com or speak with any your Camino advisor if you already have one. I see we just have another little comment here from Margarita. Walking the Camino in May, will you post these questions? They're all very interesting. Yes, we will be able to take copies of that and give everybody that information. So we will. So because we've covered quite a bit, some very useful topics and wonderful questions. So thank you all so much for participating. Again, my apologies at the start for the slight little hiccup in the sound, but I think we got there in the end. So Buen Camino, everybody, if you haven't booked already. If not, we hope to hear from you soon. And that's it. Thanks very much. Hope to see you all again soon. Bye bye.